Curious if that younger woman in your life might be hinting at more than just friendship? In today's video, we'll uncover the 7 key questions a young woman might ask when she's attracted to you on a deeper level. These are the subtle hints, the questions that reveal her interest, and how to know if she's looking for something truly intimate. If you're an older man navigating the dating scene, this insight could be a game changer. Let's dive in. If you've ever found yourself in that situation, you know there's something deeper, something that goes beyond the stereotypes of materialism or seeking financial stability. Today, I want us to understand from my experience and the stories I've witnessed why the bond between a young woman and an older man can be so powerful, so authentic. You see, the attraction to an older man is often tied to what we call hypogamy. This concept refers to the natural tendency of people to seek partners in a higher position, whether emotionally, socially, or intellectually. And while this may sound cold or calculated, it's deeply rooted in biology and the human instinct for security. However, it's not just about money or status. It's about something far more important, the emotional stability and life experience an older man can offer. A young woman still in the midst of her own experiences and self-discovery often seeks someone who has already traveled that road. It's as if she's looking ahead and feels drawn to the beacon. You represent someone who has lived, learned, and gained the wisdom that life teaches over time. The emotional maturity that an older man possesses becomes a safe space for her, a refuge in a world that can often feel fast-paced, confusing, and full of uncertain certainties. I remember a close friend, Sarah, telling me once why she decided to start a relationship with a man 20 years older than her with him. She said, "I feel heard, understood. I don't have to prove anything. He knows who he is, and that gives me incredible peace. He's not seeking validation through me. He's not competing to prove who's more right. He just lets me be." That's something many younger men still in the midst of building their ego can't offer. But you, with your experience, your scars, and your triumphs, can create that space she needs. Beyond emotional stability, a young woman also wants to feel guided, not in the sense of being dominated or controlled, but in having someone by her side who can teach her something new, who can help her grow. Experience is a valuable asset. And what you've lived through, what you've learned over the years, becomes an incredibly attractive quality. It's no coincidence that many young women often unconsciously seek that something more in an older man. There's a security in you that they perceive and can't always find in someone their own age. Society, of course, may question it, but outside opinions don't change what truly happens between two people who connect on deeper levels. And yes, in many cases that connection starts with physical attraction, but it quickly evolves into something more emotional and intimate. When she realizes that with you, she can have something she might never have experienced before, complete trust. There's also a psychological aspect often overlooked but present in these dynamics. Older men tend to be less impulsive, more patient, and that's something a young woman values enormously. Carl Jung said that patience is one of the clearest signs of emotional maturity, and when a man knows how to wait for the right moment, not just in life, but in a relationship, it creates a magnetic attraction. She feels she can trust you because you won't pressure her. You understand that truly valuable things take time, and of course we can't ignore the security you project as an older man in terms of decision-making and purpose in a world full of distractions and doubts. You've already learned to identify what really matters. Your ability to focus your energy on what's essential is something many young women find irresistible. It's not about rushing or constantly seeking the next thing. It's about valuing the present and enjoying the simple but profound things. This is where a genuine connection is made. So when you wonder why that young woman seems interested in you, remember that her attraction is no accident. You offer her a world that others may not be able to, a safe space, a relationship built on trust, and above all, an opportunity for her to be herself, without rushing, without judgment. And this brings us to the first question she might ask you. A question that may sound simple but is loaded with meaning. Have you ever noticed that girl looks into your eyes and casually asks, "Do you like going out with younger girls?" It seems like an innocent comment, but behind those words lies the first signal that she's interested. Let's break it down together and discover what she's really trying to find out. When she asks you that question, do you like dating younger women? When you hear that question, it might seem like a casual comment tossed into the conversation almost in passing. But the truth is, behind those words, she's probing for something much deeper. And here's the thing she knows. She's not just asking for a straightforward answer. She's testing the waters. What she really wants to know is if you see her differently, if among the sea of younger women, she's someone who genuinely catches your interest. This question is what I call a bait. She's offering you a chance to open up, to show your interest without being too obvious, and she does this with a mix of insecurity and flirtation. Why? Because deep down, she needs to know if you, an older man, appreciate what she brings to the table, her youthful energy, her vitality, but also her personality. It's a subtle way of saying, am I attractive to you? Do you like the idea of being with someone like me? I remember a friend, Irene, who used to tell me how she used this very question when she wanted to know if the man she was dating saw her age difference as something attractive or just a coincidence. I'd ask them something simple like, "So what do you think about dating younger women?" She once told me, laughing. I didn't do it to find out if they liked someone young, but to see if they could handle the conversation. The ones who got nervous or turned it into a superficial topic lost me in seconds. The ones who responded with confidence and ease, those were the ones who won me over. And this is where your response comes in, because how you answer will make all the difference. If you respond with insecurity, or worse, if you take the conversation into a shallow direction, you could lose that connection that was just beginning to bloom. What she's looking for is a sign that you, with all your maturity and experience, can see beyond the obvious. So how should you respond? The ideal approach is not to take the question too seriously, but also not to dismiss it. A confident man can turn this question into an opportunity to highlight the qualities that attract him, not just in her, but in younger women in general. You don't need to fall into empty compliments. Instead, speak from the sincerity of your experience. For example, instead of responding with something predictable like, "Yeah, of course I love younger women," you could go for something more genuine and honest, reflecting both your attraction and your ability to value what she represents. Something like, "What I enjoy about being with someone younger is the freshness and energy, but also the mutual learning. I find it fascinating how each person brings something unique to a relationship with this. You're not only showing interest, but you're also making it clear that you value what a younger woman can bring beyond the surface level. The key here is to avoid making her feel like she's just one of many. Don't fall into the trap of making her think your attraction is based solely on age or looks, because in reality, what she wants to know is whether there's something about her, something special that's caught your attention. That's what you should convey. Show that while her youth is something you appreciate, what truly interests you is the personal connection, that spark that goes beyond the years on a psychological level. This question also touches on the insecurities younger women can feel when dating an older man, even if they don't show it openly. Many wonder if the age gap could become a barrier. They wonder if beyond the initial attraction, you'll be able to value them as a person, to see their dreams, fears, and strengths. And by asking you this question, she's gauging whether you're capable of doing that. One thing I've noticed in my experience is that older men often try too hard when dating younger women. They go out of their way to appear younger than they are, to stay in competition with men their age, or even younger. But the truth is, what makes you attractive to a younger woman isn't trying to be something you're not. It's being fully yourself. That confidence, that inner peace, is what truly draws her in. She doesn't want you to pretend to be young. She wants you to be secure enough to enjoy her youth without losing yourself in the process. Here's a piece of advice, something I've learned over the years. When a younger woman asks you this kind of question, she's looking for a conversation that flows, not an interview. It's not just about answering correctly, but about enjoying the verbal dance, creating a space of trust where both of you can share without feeling judged. If she feels she can be herself, that she can show you her interests, her doubts, her essence, then she'll see you as someone truly worth being with, and that, my friend, is the key that opens many doors. So the next time a younger woman asks you, "Do you like dating?" younger women, remember that it's not just about age. It's an opportunity to show her that what you truly value is what she has to offer as a person, not just her youth. Respond calmly with interest and with the confidence that what really matters in a relationship is that spark you both feel, regardless of the years between you. And now, let's move on to the next question she might throw at you, one that usually follows soon after this initial probing. What do you think about relationships with an age difference? This is where things get even more interesting, because what she's really seeking isn't just your opinion, it's your stance on what society might think. Now that she's tested the waters, with the first question the conversation deepens. This is one of those questions that seems harmless, almost casual, but underneath it carries a lot of intent. What do you think about relationships with an age difference? When a young woman asks you this, she's looking for more than just a simple opinion. She wants to know how you handle the idea of being with someone younger, while at the same time she's evaluating if you're secure enough to face the potential criticisms or glances from society. Age gap relationships have always generated varied reactions. Some people view them with curiosity, others with skepticism. What she's trying to find out is whether you, with your maturity and experience, can navigate this territory confidently. Because if there's one thing she knows for sure, it's that she doesn't want to be with someone who feels insecure or uncomfortable about something as superficial as age. I remember a conversation with my friend Carmen, who got involved with a man nearly 20 years older. She told me that initially, the question of age lingered in her mind, but she wasn't sure how to address it, until one day over dinner she directly asked him, "What do you think about relationships with such a big age difference?" What she really wanted to know wasn't whether he thought it was right or wrong, but how he managed it in front of others. She wanted to see if he had the confidence not to be swayed by comments or judgments from others. If he felt comfortable, I would too, Carmen told me. And that's the key. The confidence you project in your response will make all the difference. Young women who are attracted to older men are already aware that age is a factor, but what concerns them isn't the age gap itself. It's how that difference will be handled in the relationship, and especially in front of others. If you respond with insecurity, doubt, or by explaining, it could send the wrong message. But if you handle the question with calm, not giving it more weight than it deserves, and show that for you, the emotional connection is what truly matters, not what others might think, you'll have taken an important step toward a stronger relationship. You might say something like, "I believe age is just a number." What really matters is the connection to people share. If we're on the same wavelength, why should it be a problem? That response might seem simple, but it reflects an emotional security that she will find irresistible. You're making it clear that what's important to you is the relationship you're building together, not external expectations in a world where opinions are constantly flying. That solidity you project is a refuge on a psychological level. This question has another layer. When a woman asks you about the age difference, she's also trying to gauge how seriously you see the relationship, or if you view it as something temporary. Young women who are interested in older men aren't always looking for fleeting relationships. In fact, many are drawn to the idea of being with someone who has clear priorities, someone who doesn't see her as just an adventure or a passing whim. If your answer shows that the age gap doesn't concern you, and that you see the relationship as something that can be genuine, even long-term, it will increase her attraction. She's looking for an emotionally stable man, someone who doesn't hide behind excuses or feel uncomfortable about something as circumstantial as age. Of course, not everyone around you will agree, and she knows that she might be aware that her friends, family, or even colleagues could have opinions about her relationship with an older man. But what she seeks in you is that you'll be a pillar of confidence, someone who, when those moments of doubt arise, will be there to remind her that what matters is the connection between the two of you. If she sees that security in you, then those external opinions will lose their weight. A personal anecdote comes to mind a few years ago. A friend of mine, Andres, started a relationship with a woman nearly 25 years younger than him. At first, they were both worried about what people would say. However, what really solidified their relationship was the confidence Andres projected every time the topic of the age gap came up at a gathering. A mutual friend made a joke about the age difference, and while many laughed nervously, Andres, without losing his smile, calmly replied, "I'm more than 20 years older than her, but if anyone doubts our happiness, they can say it to my face." That ease disarmed any potential criticism and strengthened their bond. As you can see, the world may keep talking, but the relationship is between the two of you. If both of you are comfortable and confident, external opinions become background noise. What will truly strengthen your bond is how you handle those situations in the end. It's not about age, it's about how you see yourself and how you project that confidence in the relationship. So when a young woman asks you, "What do you think about relationships with an age difference?" understand that she's not just looking for a theoretical answer. She's evaluating whether you have the character to sustain a relationship that might face external criticism. She's testing your emotional strength, and if you can show her that you're completely sure of yourself and the connection you're building together, you'll have passed one of the most important tests. Now let's move on to the next question, because this is where things start to get even more personal after feeling out the terrain with the age difference. She might want to go deeper into your emotional and personal life, and that's when the inevitable question comes: how was your last relationship? This, my friend, is not just any question. Let's break down what she's really trying to find out when she asks this. This is where the conversation really starts to get interesting. How was your last relationship? This question, though it may seem like a simple curiosity, is one of the most revealing probes a young woman can make. She's not asking out of mere politeness or to fill an awkward silence. What she really wants to know is whether you're emotionally available, and more importantly, what kind of man you are in a relationship. When a young woman asks about your last relationship, she's measuring several things at once. On one hand, she wants to know if you're still holding on to the past, or if you've learned from your experiences. On the other hand, she's trying to decipher what kind of partner you might be for her. And this is crucial, because how you talk about your past relationships will give her a clear idea of how you might act in the present with her. It's not about giving a chronological rundown of what happened with your ex, but rather about showing that you're a man who has lived, learned, and is ready for something new here. Honesty is your best ally, but there's a fine line between sincerity and self-pity, between sharing and overwhelming her with unnecessary details. She wants to see how you handle pain or disappointment, and whether you can talk about the past without lingering resentment or unresolved emotional baggage. Because, my friend, if she senses that you're still carrying the shadow of your last relationship, that's a red flag. I'm reminded of a conversation I had with another friend, Laura. She told me about an older man she dated for a while, and how on one of their early dates, she asked him this very question: "How was your last relationship?" Without realizing it, he started going on and on about his ex-wife, detailing their arguments, misunderstandings, and essentially reliving old wounds. I felt like instead of getting to know him, I was getting to know his ex. Laura confessed to me that was the last time she saw him. This leads to the first important lesson. Don't turn your answer into an emotional catharsis. It's not about hiding what you went through, but also not letting your past dominate the conversation. A mature man should be able to speak about his experiences without being trapped by them. If you talk about your ex with bitterness or nostalgia, you'll be showing that the past still has power over you. And for a young woman looking to move forward, that's a deal breaker. What she's looking for is someone who has processed their past relationships, learned and grown. If your last relationship was good, you can mention it, but without idealizing it. If it was bad, you can reference what you learned from the situation without victimizing yourself. A man who can acknowledge his mistakes but isn't defined by them is deeply attractive from an emotional psychology standpoint. The way someone talks about their ex-partner is a direct reflection of their emotional maturity. If you can speak respectfully, even about a relationship that didn't end well, it shows that you have the capacity to leave the past behind. And she'll notice, in fact, this type of question is designed consciously or unconsciously to measure that are you a man of the present or are you still tied to what was? If the relationship ended recently, you might wonder whether you should mention it. The answer is yes, but with nuances. Acknowledging that it's recent, but that you're at peace with it, can be enough. You don't have to go into detail. Something like, I recently got out of a relationship, and while it was tough, I learned a lot about what I really want now, and I'm in a good place, shows honesty, but also that you're ready to move forward. There's another important factor she's evaluating with this. Question how you handle difficult emotions. A young woman in a relationship with an older man expects you to have an emotional capacity that goes beyond impulsive reactions. She wants to see if you can handle conflict, frustration, and if you're capable of managing your emotions maturely. Why? Because she wants to feel emotionally safe with you. And if your answer reveals that you still have open wounds or don't know how to process what happened, it might make her doubt the stability she's seeking in you. I once knew a man, Daniel, who knew exactly how to handle this question. When it was asked, he had come out of a complicated relationship over a year ago, and instead of diving into painful details, he shared how the experience had helped him grow personally. I realized, he told me, that I'd been looking for external solutions to internal problems. It was a tough time, but I learned to be okay with myself before looking for a new relationship. Now I know what I want and what I don't. His response wasn't just honest. It showed that he had done the emotional work necessary to move on, and that, my friend, is what women really value. They're not looking for perfection. What they want is to see that you've been through life's fires and come out stronger, not burned, that you can talk about your past with calmness without letting it define who you are today. So how should you respond to this question? With serenity, with confidence, and most importantly, with a dose of introspection. She doesn't want to know every detail of what happened. She wants to know who you are now because of what you've lived through. If you can show her that, beyond past difficulties or joys, you're in an emotionally stable place and open to new experiences that will spark a trust in her that's hard to find in younger men. One last thing. Keep in mind that your answer will also allow her to project herself into a potential relationship with you. If she sees that you're capable of handling emotions maturely, that you know what you want and what you don't, she'll feel more secure that her relationship with you won't be an emotional roller coaster. And for someone looking for stability and security in an older man, that's a key point. Now that we've broken down this question, let's move on to the next one, which might arise when she starts to feel curious about your life beyond past relationships. That's when she'll ask, how is a man like you still single? This question is a disguised compliment, and I'll give you the keys to answering it in the most attractive and confident way. Before we continue, let me just say that if you're enjoying this video and feel like you're uncovering new wisdom, don't forget to subscribe and hit the thumbs up button to support this content. Stick with me until the end, because the most revealing parts are yet to come for those truly looking to transform their well-being from within. I have a final reflection that could mark a turning point in your daily life. And tell me, what are you doing while listening to me? I'd love to know if you're enjoying your favorite drink, relaxing, or maybe doing some other activity. Let's continue. This is one of those questions that, while it sounds innocent, carries a hidden compliment. How is a man like you still single when a young woman asks why a man like you is still single? She's not really looking for a logical or detailed explanation about why you don't have a partner right now. Deep down, what she's doing is pointing out that in her eyes, you have qualities that make you desirable. It's as if she's saying, I don't understand how no one has seen what I'm seeing. This question is the perfect opportunity to show confidence, but also humility. If you respond with too much enthusiasm or come across as arrogant, you might break the subtle attraction she's starting to feel. On the other hand, if you get defensive or seem unsure why you're still single, it can also raise doubts. The key here is finding the right balance. I remember a story from a close friend, Anna, about an older man she dated. He was one of those men who radiated confidence and calm. One afternoon, as they walked together, she threw out this very question: how is it that someone like you is still single? He stopped, looked into her eyes, and with a smile said, because I'm waiting for someone who makes me feel like it's worth staying. Anna told me that in that moment she felt a tingling sensation, not just because of what he said, but how he said it. He didn't try to justify anything or seem desperate to explain his situation. Instead, with that response, he made it clear that he was a man who valued his time and emotion and was open to a relationship, but not with just anyone. This is the type of response that will help you project confidence and authenticity. She wants to know if you're a man who is single by choice, someone who would rather wait for someone who truly makes a difference in your life than settle for just anyone. If you can convey that idea naturally, it will increase her attraction to you from a psychological perspective. What she's trying to figure out is whether you're single because you have high standards or simply because you've been unlucky in love. This is where it's crucial to show her that you're someone who has learned from his experiences and isn't looking for just anyone to fill a void. Your response should make it clear that you're a man who values the kind of relationship you want to build. And of course, this includes her. The question is not so much about you, but about how she sees herself fitting into your life. If you think about it, this question also carries a hint of competition. It's as if she's wondering if you haven't found someone until now. What's missing? Could I be the one to fill that space? She's testing the waters, trying to see if she could be someone special to you, someone who could be what other women haven't been for you. Essentially, it's a subtle way for her to measure her own worth in your world. A perfect example of how to handle this question came from a friend, Roberto. He had been single for several years when he met a young woman who asked him this exact question. His answer was simple but powerful. I've had relationships, but over time, I realized I'd rather be alone than poorly accompanied. Now I'm looking for someone who truly shares my values and dreams. I'm not in a rush, because I know it will happen when the time is right. That answer didn't just show that Roberto wasn't desperate to be in a relationship. It also showed that he knew exactly what he was looking for. That clarity and decisiveness are deeply attractive to a young woman who may still be figuring out what she wants in life. Seeing a man who already has that clarity can make her feel safe and drawn to you, something else to keep in mind when answering this question is to keep the focus positive. If you start talking about how hard it's been to find a good partner, or if you complain about your past experiences, You could send a message of frustration or hopelessness instead by focusing on what you've learned and how you enjoy your life as it is. You'll project the image of someone who is content with himself, and that's something a young woman will value greatly after all. She's not looking for someone who is desperately trying to fill a void. She's looking for someone who is already whole and can share that completeness with her. Another important thing she's observing when she asks this question is how you handle solitude. Older men who are comfortable in their own company, who know how to enjoy their time alone, and who don't constantly need validation from a partner are seen as emotionally secure, and that's incredibly attractive. Don't underestimate the power of showing her that while you're interested in companionship, you're not defined by the need to have someone by your side. You're good as you are, but open to something more. So when a young woman asks you, how is it that a man like you is still single? Take a moment to breathe and think about what you really want to project. It's not a question that requires a long answer or lengthy justifications. It's enough to show her that while you've been single, you don't see it as a problem. You've used that time to learn, grow, and decide to wait for something that truly matters. And now, after this question, she might start getting more curious about your lifestyle, about what you do in your free time. Because here, more than anywhere else, she wants to see if you still have vitality and passion for life. So the next question that might come up is, what do you do in your free time? But trust me, it's not just curiosity driving this. Let's break down what she's really asking with this question and how you can answer in a way that shows her the vibrant and lively man you are. What do you do in your free time? When a young woman asks you this, she's not just curious about your hobbies or how you spend your days. What she really wants to know is how you live. She's trying to gauge how much vitality you have left, how active you are, whether you still enjoy life, and most importantly, if you're someone who can surprise her. Because, my friend, what a young woman wants to see in an older man is not someone who has resigned himself to routine or who lives trapped in his comfort zone. She's looking to see if you're someone who still has energy, curiosity, and passion for what life has to offer. I remember a friend, Carolina, who once dated a man 20 years older than her. She told me that what attracted her most to him wasn't just his maturity, but the way he spoke about his personal projects, his weekend hikes, his love for reading, and how he enjoyed restoring old furniture. It wasn't the fact that he was physically active, but that he remained mentally alive, always passionate about something. I felt like with him, I'd never stop learning or exploring new things. She once said, that's the kind of response that can make a young woman see you in a different light, because the last thing she wants is for an older man to have given up on life. So when she asks you, what do you do in your free time, it's not about listing your activities like a simple rundown of past times. It's about showing her with enthusiasm what you enjoy doing, the things that keep you active, awake, and connected to the world. This is the perfect opportunity to talk about your interests, but the key is to make sure those interests reflect your passion for life. It doesn't matter if what you enjoy is something as simple as cooking a new recipe every week or tending to your garden. What's important is that she sees that despite your years, you haven't stopped being curious and finding joy. From a psychological point of view, as we age, many men tend to lock themselves into routines, becoming more rigid and less willing to try new things or step out of their comfort zone. This is what a young woman fears in an older man, that you might be too comfortable, too predictable. She doesn't want to feel trapped in monotony, and she's looking for signs that life with you is still exciting, that there's still room for adventure and the unexpected. There's a story that comes to mind about a man named Julio. When I knew years ago, Julio in his 50s was a calm man, but had a surprisingly youthful spirit. When people asked him what he did in his free time, he enthusiastically talked about his weekend motorcycle trips, his photography hobby, and even how he was learning Italian just for the pleasure of studying something new. The women he dated weren't attracted to his activities per se, but to his energy. What made him irresistible wasn't just that he did interesting things, but that he still had a thirst for life. a spark that many people lose over time. What she really wants to know when she asks this question is whether she can imagine herself living by your side, whether being with you will mean experiencing things that will enrich her life, if she can learn something from you, or on the contrary, if she'll fall into a static routine. So the important thing here is to project that vitality, that curiosity for the new, that desire to keep exploring the world, whether through travel, reading, cooking, or creating something. You don't have to be a man of great adventures, but you do have to enjoy what you do and express that authentically. An older man who knows how to keep his energy, curiosity, and desire to learn alive is not only attractive, but also inspiring. She sees you as someone who, despite the age difference, can teach her new things and show her perspectives she hadn't considered, and that for a young woman is incredibly seductive, because what most people don't understand is that physical attraction is just a small part of the equation. What really keeps her interested is what you, with your experience and attitude toward life, can offer her emotionally and intellectually. And here's another key factor: independence. When you talk about what you do in your free time, you're also showing her how much you value your own space and time, which is an important message. You're letting her know that you have a rich life, that you're not waiting for someone else to fill it. And believe me, that's something many young women find attractive in an older man. You're not looking for her to solve your emotional voids. You're open to sharing your full life with someone who knows how to appreciate it. And don't forget one fundamental point: a sense of humor. A light, humorous response can break any barrier. You can talk about a fun activity you do or a quirky project that keeps you entertained. Something like, lately I've been trying to learn to play the guitar, but I don't think my neighbors are too happy with the results. Humor shows that in addition to enjoying life, you don't take yourself too seriously, which is an incredibly attractive trait for any woman. So the next time she asks you what you do in your free time, remember that it's not just about telling her your hobbies, but showing her who you are through them. Show her that you still have a passion for life, that you're still curious, that you enjoy your own time, and that if she decides to be with you, life will never be boring. Because at the end of the day, what a young woman looks for in an older man is someone who still has that spark, that energy that makes her feel alive and connected. And now that we've explored this question, let's move on to another equally interesting one as the conversation flows. There may come a point where she wants to go deeper and delve into the dynamic of dating someone much younger than you. And then she'll throw out the tricky question: doesn't it bother you to date someone much younger here? My friend, is where your confidence and self-assurance really get put to the test. Let's see how to handle this question with the same grace and power as you've handled the others. Doesn't it bother you to date someone much younger? When a young woman asks you this question, it's not random. This is one of those questions that seems harmless but serves a clear purpose. She's testing your confidence and ability to handle the age gap with grace. Because while it might appear that she's seeking your opinion on the difference in age, what she's really measuring is your self-assurance. She wants to know if being with a younger woman makes you uncomfortable, or if you're the kind of man who embraces it naturally without giving it too much importance. The truth is, the age gap can be a sensitive issue, and often people around you make it more complicated than it really is. But what a young woman wants to know is if you, as an older man, are secure enough in yourself not to be intimidated by the numbers. If you show any sign of insecurity about it, or seem overly concerned with what others think, it could make her doubt the relationship. No one wants to be in a relationship where the other person feels the need to justify or explain every move. I clearly remember a conversation with my friend Claudia, who started dating a man was 25 years older. She told me how in the 2005 beginning, the age difference made her feel a bit insecure. Not because it mattered to her, but because she wasn't sure how he would handle it. But everything changed when I asked him if it bothered him to date someone younger, and without missing a beat, He smiled and said, "If it bothered me, I wouldn't be here with you, would I?" Claudia told me with a laugh, that comment so simple, yet full of confidence, reassured that the age gap wasn't a big deal to him, and it made her feel more comfortable and free. That's the key. What she's looking for with this question is your self-confidence. She wants to know if you can handle the situation with poise and enjoy the relationship without making a big deal out of something as superficial as age. Don't forget that for her, the age difference can also cause some concern. She's probably heard comments from friends or family that make her second-guess things, but if you project confidence showing her that it's not an issue for you, she'll feel more secure. Your response to this question should be light, calm, and most importantly, reflect that you're completely comfortable with the situation. It's not about justifying why age doesn't matter or launching into a long speech about the benefits of age. Gap relationships. A simple, direct response with a touch of humor can be much more effective. Something like, "Not at all. It's actually fun. It keeps me young at heart." This kind of answer not only disarms any doubt she might have, but also flips the question, showing that you see the situation as something positive, even advantageous from a psychological perspective. This question has another layer by asking if it bothers you to date someone younger. She's also assessing whether you can handle external criticism, because while it might not matter to you or her, the truth is that people often comment, judge, and even criticize. What she's looking for is a man who isn't swayed by what others think, someone secure enough in himself and the relationship not to be affected by other people's opinions. Years ago, I knew a man named Alberto who was dating a much younger woman. He was a very calm man, and when people asked him about the age gap, he never flinched. He told me that when they went out together, he could feel people's curious stares. But what set him apart was his attitude. He never felt the need to explain anything, and that calmness rubbed off on his partner. At first, she was worried about what people would say, but when she saw that it didn't affect me, she started to relax, he told me. And that's the power of showing that the opinions of others don't shake you. It creates a huge sense of stability in the relationship. So when a young woman asks you if it bothers you to date someone much younger, what she's really looking for is whether you're the kind of man who can rise above other people's opinions. If your response shows insecurity, or if you feel the need to defend the relationship, she might interpret that as a lack of confidence. But if you handle it with ease and tranquility, she'll see you as a man who knows what he wants and isn't influenced by societal conventions. One thing to keep in mind is that this question may also be a way for her to seek reassurance. Perhaps somewhere in the back of her mind, she has doubts about whether the age difference could become an issue. She might be wondering whether that gap will become more noticeable over time, or if she can keep up with you emotionally or physically. This is where your response can give her the reassurance she's looking for. If you can show her that for you, age is just a number, and that what truly matters is the connection you're building, she'll feel more comfortable and confident in the relationship. Another key element you can include in your response is to make her feel special, because at the end of the day, she's evaluating whether she's the young one. You're truly interested in being with a response, like "I love being with you," because even though you're younger, you have a maturity and energy that I find incredibly attractive, can subtly give her the confidence she needs, letting her know that you're drawn to her, not just because of her age, but because of who she is as a person. And this is where humor comes into play. Humor is a powerful tool for diffusing the weight of a topic that could otherwise feel delicate. If you can answer this question with a smile, a light comment, or a well-placed joke, not only will you disarm any tension, but you'll also show that you don't take yourself too seriously. Something like, "Of course it doesn't bother me. It keeps me in shape," with a smile is enough to break down any barrier and help her relax in the end. What a young woman wants when she asks this question is to feel confident that the age difference won't be a burden for either of you. She wants to see if you're the kind of man who knows how to enjoy the relationship without hang-ups, someone secure enough not to care about what others think. If you can convey that confidence, she'll see you as a partner. She can trust someone who will make her feel comfortable and appreciated no matter what the rest of the world thinks. Now that we've explored how to handle this tricky question, it's time to move on to the last and perhaps most important question of all. After she's explored your confidence, your life and your emotions, comes the question that really puts everything into perspective. Do you take care of yourself? This, my friend, isn't just a question about your physical health. It's about how much you value yourself and whether you can offer her a future together. Let's discover what she's looking for with this question and how to respond to deepen the connection even further. In the end, what we've seen throughout these questions isn't just a set of strategies or answers, but an invitation to reflect on who you are and how you present yourself to the world. It's not about pretending or impressing. It's about authentically showing the man you've become with your experiences, your lessons, and most importantly, your ability to create genuine connections. A young woman who's interested in you is looking for more than just surface-level conversation. She wants to see if you're the kind of man who can offer stability, confidence, and at the same time, that spark of vitality that can only be found in someone who has learned to enjoy each stage of life. Each of these questions is an opportunity to show that age isn't a barrier, but an advantage. Your experience has given you valuable tools to navigate relationships with wisdom, patience, and confidence. And if there's one thing I've learned over the years, it's that what matters most isn't what you say, but how you make the other person feel, listening attentively, being present, and knowing when to speak and when to stay silent. That's what really connects. I want you to think about this every time you find yourself in a similar situation. You don't need to impress or prove anything. Just be authentic, confident in yourself, and able to enjoy each moment with her without rushing or the expectations that can sometimes ruin the best opportunities. Remember, the most attractive quality is a man who is at peace with himself. My name is Celia, and I want this space to be a refuge of wisdom. A place where we can have real conversations about these important topics without masks, without pretensions. Here we talk about real life, about how to improve our relationships and our quality of life from the intimate to the everyday. Because I know that every small change we make within ourselves, every gesture of self-awareness is reflected in how we connect with others and how we live our relationships. If this is your first time on the channel, I invite you to subscribe and turn on notifications. What's coming next will be even deeper and more revealing, and I don't want you to miss it. And if you've made it this far, I want to congratulate you, because it means you take your personal growth seriously to know who these committed seekers are. Comment with the phrase, "I love wisdom," and tell me where you're listening from. I'd love to know who's sharing this journey with me. And before we say goodbye, don't forget to share this video with someone close to you, maybe someone you know needs a new perspective, a word of encouragement, or simply the chance to better understand themselves and others. Sometimes a small piece of advice can make a big difference. See you in the next video. See